Kyle Larson has had enough. After one of the wildest, most physical, door-slamming duels NASCAR fans have seen all year, Larson finally snapped. The gloves came off. "He runs you like you're invisible," Larson said, jaw tight, eyes blazing under his cap. "He'll run aggressive, yeah, but at some point, that's just playing games out there." And the man he was talking about? None other than Shane van Gisbergen, the Kiwi assassin who's taken NASCAR by storm. He didn't just beat Larson at Charlotte's Roval, he humiliated him, storming to a jaw-dropping 15-second victory. That's not a typo, 15 whole seconds. The grandstands didn't know whether to cheer or gasp. Fans stood in disbelief as van Gisbergen crossed the line. He didn't just dominate the field, he dismantled it. And in doing so, he ignited one of the fiercest rivalries modern NASCAR has seen. Because this wasn't just another race. This was pride versus precision, experience versus innovation. Larson's all-American grit against van Gisbergen's cold-blooded mastery. It all started with respect. Two champions trading paint, pushing limits, testing the edge of control. Larson was on worn-out tires, fighting to hang on. SVG had the fresher rubber and the hunger to prove once again that his road course skill was no fluke. Every lap was tighter, every corner heavier with tension. You could feel the electricity building in the air. And then, turn 7. Larson wasn't lifting. SVG wasn't backing down. The inevitable happened. Metal clashed, tires screamed, the crowd erupted. From that moment, this race stopped being about strategy. It became personal. SVG later admitted, "I thought he was going to give me space, and he didn't. I couldn't back out." Larson's response? A smirk. "He got into me first," he said. "So yeah, I gave it back." Maybe more than once. It wasn't just two cars colliding, it was two worlds colliding. The calculated precision of the Kiwi against the unrelenting heart of the Californian. And for 10 straight laps, it was war. Door slams, crossovers, contact that echoed through the Roval. Larson wasn't racing for points anymore. He was racing for respect. Van Gisbergen finally pulled away, his Camaro slicing through corners with surgical precision. But make no mistake, every inch of that 15-second lead came with bruises. The fans were on their feet, roaring for both drivers. Because this wasn't just racing, it was a show. The kind of old-school, hard-nosed racing that makes your chest tighten and your fists clench. Larson may have finished second on paper, but spiritually, he went down swinging. And that fight, that fire, reminded everyone why he's a champion. But let's be honest, van Gisbergen is rewriting NASCAR history. 5 road course wins this season, 57 laps led at Charlotte, all while still considered a rookie. If he wins one more, he ties Jeff Gordon's legendary record of 6 road course victories in a single year. Let that sink in. A rookie on the verge of matching Jeff Gordon. It's not just impressive, it's terrifying. And Larson knows it. "He's just so far ahead of all of us on these tracks right now," Larson admitted. You could hear the frustration, the disbelief. It wasn't admiration, it was warning. Larson gave everything he had in those final laps. He defended like a lion. But SVG, he was untouchable. When he came out of the pits with fresh tires, you could almost see the switch flip. "I drove out and I'm like, all right, we're on again," SVG said afterward, casually. And from that moment, the race was his. But that didn't make it any less thrilling. In fact, it made it better. Because what we saw that day wasn't just domination, it was defiance. Larson refused to quit. SVG refused to crack. Every lap told a story. Every turn raised the stakes. And when SVG stood in victory lane, grinning with that trademark calm, Larson wasn't smiling. He was fuming. He knows the road to Phoenix runs straight through Shane van Gisbergen, and he's not about to step aside. "This ain't over," Larson said under his breath, walking off camera. SVG, meanwhile, brushed it off with a grin. "I love a good battle," he said, "but you also like winning by half a minute." That wasn't confidence, that was a warning. But make no mistake, SVG didn't walk away clean. That bump with Larson left a mark. Because these two don't just race differently, they think differently. Larson drives with instinct, with emotion, fueled by pride and anger. Van Gisbergen drives like a computer, cool, calculated, and absolutely fearless. And when those philosophies collided, fans got a front row seat to the chaos. "He got angry and swiped at me," SVG admitted later. Probably fair enough. Even he knew the line between competition and confrontation had been crossed, but that was just the spark, because the rest of the field caught fire too. Ross Chastain spun across the finish line backward after tangling with Denny Hamlin. Joey Logano limped home in 20th, but somehow clawed into the next playoff round. Everything changed. The leaderboard shattered. Hamlin sits on top, but barely. Larson's tied for third with Byron. And Van Gisbergen? He's now the nightmare every playoff driver sees in their rearview mirror. He's not just a road course specialist anymore. He's a momentum killer, a playoff wrecker, the shadow that creeps closer with every green flag. 5 wins in his debut season, 6 total in NASCAR, all on tracks where others can't even get close. And now we head into Vegas and Talladega, 2 completely different beasts. Everyone assumes SVG might slow down there, but if you've been paying attention, you know better. He's already proven he can adapt. Still, Larson's not backing off. He's sitting third in points. He's got Vegas and Phoenix coming, both tracks where he's magic. And now, he's motivated. You could feel it in his post-race interview. His tone sharp, his stare sharper. He's done being polite. "We tried to make a race out of it," he said. "Next time, I might not be so patient." That's not just talk. That's a declaration of war. If SVG sticks his nose where it doesn't belong next time, Larson might not just bump him, he might dump him. And if that happens, buckle up, because this rivalry is about to explode. Fans are loving it. Finally, a storyline that's not about pit strategy or fuel mileage. It's about fire, emotion, grit. 2 drivers who genuinely care about every inch of track they fight for. Larson versus SVG is NASCAR at its purest form, the veteran protecting his turf versus the outsider conquering everything in his path. Every lap is a statement, every race feels like a final, and don't sleep on the rest of the grid. Ryan Preece quietly putting together solid runs. Buescher and Keselowski proving RFK is back. And with Goodyear's new tire wear throwing strategy back into chaos, no one is safe. Every mistake could flip the playoffs upside down. Every lap could end a dream. Now the stage is set. SVG has the speed, Larson has the fire, and Las Vegas, the city of risk and reward, is next. Will Larson strike back and end the SVG takeover? Or will Van Gisbergen double down and prove that Charlotte was just the beginning of his empire? One thing's for sure, the road to Phoenix just turned into a battlefield. And here's the question fans can't stop asking. Has Shane van Gisbergen already broken the field mentally? Or is Kyle Larson about to become the one man who finally stops him? Because if Charlotte was the opening act, Vegas is going to be the main event. And this rivalry, it's not cooling down, it's only getting hotter.